Welcome to BARI Banter, where we talk everything bariatric surgery with the people that know it best, the patients. I'm Shannon, and I'm here with my co-hostess with the mostest,
Lita. So sit back, relax, and remember, sip, sip, sip.
Well, welcome back to another episode of BARI Banter. I'm sitting here with the lovely Lita.
Hi.
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 Hi. It's the end of a Sunday afternoon. We've been painting and
Redecorating
and vacuuming and cleaning and it's just been a Sunday.
The bed's out in the living room.
Bed's in the living room.
Camping over tonight. It's gonna be fun.
It's nice though, like, because obviously I'm back home at the moment because the new job that I took didn't really work out how I planned it to be. So back home now, looking to kind of go down a different avenue now. For me, the new job just wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and I haven't worked for someone for a very long time, and I guess having a boss, and especially someone who, in this situation, wasn't how do you put it, the most giving boss, I think is the best way to put it. Like I'm very much like equal, so it's like, no matter what position you're in, no matter how much power you have, I'm all about being equal. Like I give respect to other people, no matter what position you're in, if you know what I mean. So for me, I think, at the end of the day, you shit, I shit. No one's better than anyone. And when I put in a situation like that, I'm very like, I know where my morals lie.
I don't shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're a girl. Girls don't shit.
Girls don't
You don't poop. But how's your week been anyway?
I'm tired.
I can tell.
Yeah.
You're sitting there very quiet.
Yeah, no, I had my best friend's wedding yesterday. And it's well, you were there.
I
don't know why you're so
I was
surprised,
also there. I was
but
also there.
I'm just tired. I'm just very, very tired.
Yeah, that happens when you drink champagne.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, I drank more champagne last night than what I would drink wine.
I thought you were going to say, like, I drank more champagne than the town of France.
No,
yesterday.
But I wasn't even that drunk last night.
You weren't.
Like, it was
great.
weird. Like 3 glasses of wine and I'm like blackout drunk. But like,
that's wine though.
A couple of glasses of
That's
champagne
wine.
and I was good to go. Like
Good,
it was
good wedding though.
It was a good wedding.
Yeah, had a lot of fun.
Impromptu speech by me and
yeah,
no, it was lovely.
You did very well. Public speaking, and I think you talk to other
quite
people quite often.
Yeah, quite a lot. Yeah.
No, very well done. Speaking of weddings, no, that's a really bad transition.
Segue.
We have a very good friend coming on our podcast tonight, and I'm really excited to sit down with her and have a chat. She's someone that I consider quite a close friend. Personally.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've known her for quite a long time now. Met her through the weight loss community. So, this is how it all works.
Yeah.
So how's it all work? You meet new friends.
So tonight we're going to sit down with Nicole just to get it along.
Yeah.
Single mother, a full-time worker, weightlifter, and all-round good chick with a starting weight of 135 kilos. She's currently sitting at around the 80 kilo mark and gained a whole new outlook on life. Please welcome tonight our guest, Nicole, whose new Instagram handle, not so new, but through thick to thin. Nicole through thick to thin.
That's new, isn't it, Nicole? Because it's always been set, stumps, and repeat.
Yeah, I had eight sleeve or something repeat, sleeve, and then I had and then I don't know, another one, and now this one.
Oh, do you have another one in between?
Yeah, I've been reborn 3 times.
Oh, well,
How's that going for you? Please stop changing it, because when I go to try and send you a message and you've changed your handle, I'm like, oh, where's she gone? Jeez, has she blocked me?
That's exactly why I do
it. Get you out of the inbox.
Obviously, we know you rather well. We met a few years back at a meetup somewhere. I can't even remember when we met you.
Thrive. I think it was Thrive.
Thrive. Okay, so...
No, it wasn't. No. It was the one that was at that little place in
the Gold Coast?
It was Ex-Cargo.
Oh, Ex-Cargo in Brisbane.
Oh,
on my birthday.
On your birthday.
On my birthday.
Where I fell over and ended up in hospital.
That's where you get...
Yeah. You guys weren't there for more than probably 5 minutes before Lita just was A over T and in hospital. So.
Yeah, it's that wasn't her finest moment. We won't. But it was an adventure. I hadn't been to an hospital.
And then by the time we came back from hospital and came back to Ex-Cargo, everybody was gone. And I was like, whoop, whoop, party. Oh,
It was a lot
well,
of fun.
I hope you guys all had a great night whilst I was getting like 10 stitches in my knee. Oh, good, whatever. But anyway, since then, we've clearly become quite good friends.
Have you? She keeps changing her name, so you
Yeah,
can't message her. You know, it's kind of going an opposite way right now for you. So yeah, we're great friends. You on the other
Me
hand,
on the other hand, I'm just,
That's fine.
please be my
I
friend.
always let Shannon know.
You give him the heads up. Anyway, tell us about who you were prior to weight loss surgery. Who was Nicole, a couple of years ago?
Did you change your name before surgery? Is that like? Oh no. Okay.
Is your name actually Nicole?
Was always my name. Yeah, no, it was always my name. No. I think I thought I had it all. Like, I thought I had it all figured out. But at the same time, I think between that stage in life with your adolescence and then you go to like mid-20s, I don't think you've actually got it sorted anyway. So, of course, you're trying to figure out who you are. But if you don't, I feel like when you're overweight, you don't really have much of an identity itself. I think that weight clouds who you are because you're overcompensating for something. So
Manipulates who you are.
100% doing that. And I was trying to be something I wasn't, and I didn't fit in the bracket. I didn't fit in many things, actually, back then. But I think now, not only being older and wiser, I'm more relaxed with who I am. So I think that I got the sleeve at the right time. So I don't know, it's hard to say. I think I got the sleeve at the right time because I was maturing through it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I was not only becoming something I wanted to be, something I thought I always had in me, but I was old enough to develop that.
You're old enough to go through the motions to get to where you needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how you put that.
I think I was too young to know who I was and who I wanted to be, and to be overweight as well. Going through all that was just so hard because I'm like, well, I can't really be who I want to be because I was covered in all this extra weight, so I was overcompensating for my true personality anyway. And now losing the weight, becoming older, maturing, going through a lot more in life, I'm kind of like, no, I'm okay. I'm where I need to be. I got this done at the right time, and it's all kind of falling into place, which is really good.
Do you feel like because you're at a position in life where you were able to make those changes too? So, like, because you were maybe in a transitional period? Because I know for me, when you said that, I was like, oh, yeah, it happened for me at a point where I was in a point in life where I was able to make those changes. I wasn't so, like, locked into a situation as such.
I was locked into a situation. I was definitely locked into a situation. I don't know. Right now is when I'm kind of like growing my wings even more. I'm not locked into a situation now.
So are we saying situation is a relationship? Is that what a situation is? Is that because you were still in a relationship?
Yeah, I think for me, my relationship, like, I was very stuck in a relationship. In a past relationship, I settled in that relationship, and then I kind of expanded and grew. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be stuck in this anymore. Like, this I just settled, and I shouldn't have settled. I only settled because A, I was insecure. B, I didn't know my true identity, and I thought that would validate me. You know, I would just kind of be in a relationship with someone who liked me, but I just didn't necessarily like myself enough to really encourage that relationship to grow. And really, it wasn't the right relationship anyway.
Yeah, because you were settling, like you were kind of, he wasn't filling the void completely, but you were going, oh, it's close enough.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
And when you separated from him, was it after surgery, or did you separate with him before surgery?
It was after. Like, he's always been really, really supportive. We're really good friends now. That's fine. But I think I came to the conclusion that we're better friends than anything. So I think it was me just going, after surgery, it wasn't because I lost weight. It was because I found myself through that. But, like, I think that I deserve better, if that makes sense. Not being shallow or anything.
No, but I think we all do, yeah.
Yeah. I think that now I know what I want, and it's not necessarily that. So
You also know
I was just
yourself
like,
better as a person now too than what you would have back then as well.
yeah, and I learned to validate myself, and that was the pivotal thing, was learning how to validate myself meant I didn't need someone to do it for me. And that's where it came after surgery. So I was just like, no, I can do this myself. You know, I don't need anyone to tell me they love me or that I look beautiful or that I'm strong or that I'm this. I can just show myself that through actions and do it myself.
But that's why we're such good friends, because every time I see you, I always tell you that I love you and that you're beautiful. And
yeah, and that's what friends are for. And I think that's really important to have friends, you know, because they give you something that you don't necessarily need to lock yourself into in a daily grind relationship kind of thing. I don't know. That's just,
but that's also like before I said, you know, we all deserve more. I feel like with a relationship, it should be like with my past relationship, I found myself feeling like we were just each other and falling into complacency with it. And like now with the leader, like I really take the thing of, you know, I want to make the effort, you know, for her. And then hopefully she makes the effort for me, you know, because it's like she deserves more. I deserve more. And I think it should be, that's how a relationship should be. It shouldn't be like you just fall into complacency and just settle. I think you should be trying to make that person remember why they love you every day, if you know what I mean. Like I think that's very important with like a relationship. Like don't become complacent, don't expect things, and just like, you know, put out what you want to receive back.
And the difference is now that you both know that you deserve better.
Yeah.
So
100%.
before you didn't, you thought that you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
So you were just settled. But now you're like, no, actually, I deserve better than how I'm being treated, or, you know, there's more for me here. And if you're not getting it, you can either ask or whatever. You're not worried that you're going to lose out because you're not worthy.
Yeah, because
you know you're worthy.
I think after weight loss surgery, when like, because obviously the statistics says a lot of separations happen, and people go, "Oh, it's because they lost weight," and it's not so much that. It's more, I think you realize you deserve more. And that's not saying that the partner you have isn't great. They're just not your more. I think you get to a point where you realize, you know, it's working, but it's not my more. Because, like, you know, at the end of the day, you only get one life, and I think you deserve that person to appreciate you and be your more. And you know, so I think that it's not so much you lose the weight. I think it's just you realize that you're not getting that extra out of the relationship.
That was one thing when I broke up with my ex-partner. He said, you know, I was 3-4 months down the track and I'd lost, you know, 20, 30 kilos at that stage. And he turned around and went, well, what, because you're getting skinny now, you don't love me anymore? And I was like, that's just, it just goes to show the kind of person that you are.
No. Your weight doesn't determine your love for someone.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing that always gets misinterpreted. Like, you know, people being like, oh, because they lost weight. And no, it's completely different. And if you put yourself in the shoes, especially with the females in this community, where they're kind of in a relationship where, you know, they are kind of settling. Like, not settling, but like making excuses for that person. Because it's an all too familiar thing where you can tell it's usually the female that's lacking something within the relationship, but they're very good at like just accepting it. And then it gets to a point where they go, you know what, like, I deserve more.
I want more.
I want more.
Yeah.
And, you know, because we only get one life. And I think that's one thing with this job that I just had. I said that to myself. I'm like, I only get one life. Why am I spending it
away?
Like, why am I spending such a large portion of it away and doing something that I'm not
loving,
bringing value to my life? Yeah. So I think it's really important to always remember that, because, like, you know, one day is one day, but it's one day less that you have out of your life if you don't enjoy it. So can you pinpoint a point in your past where you kind of started to notice that weight became more of an issue for you?
I don't know. It's so hard for me because I've always been so bubbly, charismatic and stuff like that. So I put on a really good show for most of my life. So everyone was kind of like, I don't understand. How could you be upset or sad, or you'd never be angry because you're always so happy? And it was kind of like, I don't know, it was a bit like sad clown thing where it's like I put on a face because I want other people to feel happy around me. I don't want them to feel like I would feel. And I think it got to a point where I'm like, I'm so sick of pretending. I just want to feel what I make others feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to feel what I'm making everyone else feel. And I think that now I deserve that, especially when I had Liam. I was like, no, I can't be like mentally unstable with a 2-year-old. Like,
it's not recommended. Yeah, it's not.
Goddamn crazy.
Yeah. Has it changed your way, like, you parent now too? Like, do you feel like how you're parenting Liam has changed because of, you know, the new life you've taken on?
I think so. I think it's because, I don't know, I think it's not just exercise. Like, people go, okay, so now I'm living an active life. I can play with my kids. I can do that. I still don't want to play with my kids. Like, to be fair, I don't want to play.
Sleep. Play.
I'm just like, he's like, Mom, let's play. I'm like, Bluey has a lot to answer for, and I'm not playing this game. Yeah, I don't know. It's not about that for me. It's about kind of, if I didn't know who I was, how can I grow a human to be themselves when I'm like living a facade, like kind of thing. I can't go, you know, be this or encourage that or, you know, be tolerant of this when, like, I'm not even doing it myself.
You're not
practicing what you preach. Yeah, that's
exactly it.
Lead by example.
And I think,
I get that.
Yeah, and it's been a long road to go. Okay, now I've got to learn to be an entirely different person. And I'm not being a different person. I'm being the person I actually am. But I'm trying to embrace who I am, or love who I am, or not kind of care about what anyone else thinks I am.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. And it's not to say, oh, I can be a bitch because I don't care about anyone else. Not at all. Not at all. Like, you still need to be a decent person, but also you need to be more tolerant of yourself, and less tolerant of what others think of you.
Yeah, more accepting of like those little traits that make you uniquely you, and not so much ashamed of them. Yeah.
Yeah. And when people say, oh, you know, you this or you that, that's not a me problem. Like, I understand, you know, you might think I'm a certain way, but again, not everyone needs to get along, or it's one of those things, everyone needs to be accepting of themselves more than anything.
I think
you can't do anything else.
No, I think if your traits or your individualisms are not impacting on other people, then it's no problem. Like, no one should care. But, you know, obviously if you have certain traits that are impacting others around you and making people's life around you lesser, then clearly you've got to maybe assess that. But if it's just about being uniquely you and just, you know, enjoying who you are and being quirky and being like, you know, letting those little, what is it, the little freak flag fly or whatever, you know, I think it's very important to just be you, enjoy it. And because I think sometimes we do care too much about what other people think, especially when it comes to like little traits. We're like, oh, I like this about myself. It's okay to start accepting that. Yeah.
But I think we do start accepting ourselves a lot more, as we were just saying, like after surgery, and we are almost proud of those little quirks and those little, you know, freak flags that we all fly.
Yeah. I think modern day, I think we're kind of like, the more freak flags you have, it's becoming a thing. The kind of like, the more people go, oh, that's sick.
That's
like,
cool.
Look at his freak flag. It's just flying all over there.
Are we gonna like try and coin this, the freak flag?
I like it. Has a ring
flag.
We'll make
I have a massive freak flag.
So do you think that having... So did you have Liam before surgery or after surgery?
Before surgery.
Yeah. And do you think that falling pregnant was like the straw that broke the camel's back? Like, was that when you sort of went, you know, I'm about to have a kid, I need to do something?
Yeah. So what hit hard was, I remember, it's kind of like that body dysmorphia, but like the opposite. I don't know, maybe it's the same. But when I was at my biggest, I never thought I was that big, right? And now, like, when I got to my smallest, I was like, I always thought I was bigger than I was. Anyway, so when I was pregnant with Liam, I always wanted a water birth. And I was like, I just want a water birth. And then I went to one of my midwife appointments and she said to me, oh, if you're over 100 kilos, you can't have a water birth because you're too high risk and we won't be able to get you out of the bath. And I was like, oh, I feel really embarrassed. Like, I was like, oh, surely I would be able to get out. And I was like making all these excuses for my weight kind of thing. And she's like, no, you'd be too much of like a, kind of like an OHS risk almost. And I was like, oh, that made me feel so shit.
I didn't know that was
I
a
didn't know
thing.
that either. So because you weighed so much that it would take too much like struggle, so to speak, to get you out of the bath if something was to go wrong.
No, just fill the bath up and let me float out myself. Like,
just like pop the damn thing and let me fly out.
It's called buoyancy. Jeez, come on.
Have you ever seen the baths that they give? It's not a bath. It's like a blow up bath. That's what
yes, you can just pop it.
Yeah, just pop it. That's
Just slide across the floor.
Like a beach.
It's a visual for you.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I didn't know that was a thing. There we go. That's my lesson I've learned today, that apparently you can't have water births over 100 kilos. Know that.
Yeah.
So you had Liam. You had him obviously not water birth because you were still over 100 kilos. So how long after having giving birth, did you then decide to have surgery?
Well, he was maybe like 1. I think from memory he was 1. And they said breastfeeding you'd lose weight. That is wrong. That is a lie. Do not listen to anyone. You don't, because half the time when you're breastfeeding, you're in close vicinity of the fridge. And if you have an issue with food, that fridge becomes your best friend. So I would open packets of biscuits and I'd be having 50,000 coffees a day, which I probably shouldn't have done, but anyway. But everything's just in close vicinity. And when you're so tired, obviously you want to eat for energy. And so I'm just eating, constantly eating, breastfeeding. I'm like, fine, I'm going to lose weight. This is like weight loss drug in itself.
I'm eating for 2.
I'm eating, I'm producing milk here. Surely that's burning calories. Apparently it doesn't burn like a pack of biscuits a day.
Surprise.
So, yeah, lies. And it's mean, actually. But, so I ballooned like you wouldn't believe during that. So it was like my mum, when she went through cancer, everyone said to her, oh, you're going to lose weight because you've got cancer. Not in my family, you don't. She did not lose weight. She put on so much weight, which is ridiculous.
Wow. So how long after Liam was born did you have surgery? Did we just...
A year?
It was a year.
A year. So in that last year leading up, when did you make the decision to have weight loss surgery? Was it before he was born or was it after he was born when you started ballooning?
It was after. At first, during that pregnancy, when I was told I couldn't have a water birth and going into appointments every week being weighed, I was just done. But then I had him, I kept making excuses because it was kind of but I won't be able to pick him up after surgery and I won't be able to do this with him after surgery and I'm not going to have the energy after surgery. But it got to a point where I'm just I'm so big and I kept ripping the insides of my pants constantly because my legs would rub. So I was like, this is costing me a fortune in clothes and I just needed something a change. And I looked into it. My brother had it. That's right. Because my brother was nearly 200 kilos.
Wow.
So, yeah, he lost 100 kilos. So, yeah, he was 200 and he got down to, he would have probably been 101 he got to. So that was at his lowest.
Wow.
But he hasn't had skin surgery or anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do we not meet your brother? Is he not part of the weight loss community? Is he just...
He got done probably 3 years before I did.
There you go.
So he's 5 years out.
Wow.
Does he talk about it? Is he is he a secret sleever?
He's not open about it. No, I think when he got it was kind of, surgery was one of those, never really talked about it at all. It wasn't embraced.
Yeah.
He went on the public role, just got it done, and like he didn't go into the whole fitness and whatever. He just had it done. That was it. Because the doctor said to him he's got a fatty liver and he's got like a really fatty liver, and that if he doesn't do anything about it, he's not going to live out the year. That's basically what his doctor said. And he said, like, I remember him coming up to me and basically just nearly in tears. And that's not my brother. Like, he's such a hard ass. But yeah, that hit him hard. So yeah.
It's really interesting too, though, actually, because I put a post up on our Instagram last week asking, like, you know, who do you want to hear from? Like, we've been doing this for like 42 weeks now or something like that. Like, you know, dob your friends in who you want to hear from, who you think you should come on the show. And quite a few people have said they want to hear from like historical patients, so to speak. So, you know, 5 years plus. But it's
historical patients. So, like George
Dinosaurs.
II. Do you have a brother?
No, but like it's quite hard to try and find those people because, you know, people who are that far down the track, it wasn't as normalized as what it is now. And a lot of them haven't necessarily been so open about the whole situation, the whole process. So it's just like you just said, your brother, he wasn't necessarily, you know, yelling it from the rooftops that he had it done or anything like that. Like he just went about his normal life and he's just moved on, sort of thing. Like it's quite hard to try and find people who are that far down the track who are happy
want
to
to
talk about
openly
it.
talk about it. Yeah.
The aftercare and discussions post surgery for someone like my brother, the education wasn't there. So it was like, get in, get your stomach out, and out you get. And that was it. There was no go to psych appointments, go to a nutritionist, do this, do that. It was not, he didn't get any of that.
Wow.
It was kind of just get in. It was so new. It wasn't even new. It was just like starting to happen a lot more, I think, to people. Like it was just kind of entry. And yeah, there was nothing. There was just nothing for them. There was no like, you know, 1 year checkup, 6 months checkup, and he hasn't seen his surgeon or doctor. I don't think he knows yet.
Plays a part, obviously, in why the success rate is gradually increasing because, obviously, as education comes along and people start to talk a bit more and understand it a little bit more, the success rate kind of goes up because, looking at it from that angle, it's like, you know, they were kind of left on their own to kind of understand what's next.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah.
So since you had surgery, you've started suffering quite severely with reflux. Is that something that you had prior to surgery or is it kind of developed since having the sleeve?
No, definitely since the sleeve. The only time I kind of had it was when I was pregnant. But yeah, since I had the sleeve, it's been incredibly bad. I remember there's some sort of like foods that trigger it, like bananas. Bananas trigger my reflux. Plain water trigger it. Any like pastries and things like that will trigger it. But it was the funniest thing because I remember when I first had Liam, he had reflux. He was a refluxy baby. And I couldn't understand for the life of me because I was like eating so many bananas. I'm like, I'm breastfeeding, I'm eating them. You know, have all the bananas because they're meant to be good for you. Anyway, he screamed his guts out because he was just so, apparently it was affecting him, so I couldn't eat bananas. I was like, why would that affect him? Until I had a stomach probably his size, and I went, yeah, I can understand why.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Apparently they're really acidic. I didn't know that.
I was going to say that. I didn't know bananas are acidic. Like, I eat a lot of bananas.
I thought they were full of potassium, not acid.
Yeah, I did my research. Apparently so.
Wow.
I don't know how good my research was. Probably wasn't peer-reviewed, but it's fine.
Because, like, don't they do a barium swallow prior to surgery? Is that testing reflux?
Yes. Did you have the barium swallow done prior to surgery?
From what I remember, no. I had some sort of, because when I came out of surgery, I had to go get an MRI done because I got an infection, but I had to swallow something then.
But not prior to surgery? You didn't go and like, you would know if you did a barium swallow because it's like that chalky, like.
So for anybody that doesn't know what a barium swallow is, it's where they go and take an x-ray essentially of your esophagus and the piping that leads down to your stomach, and they'll take an x-ray of you so you get to drink this delightful liquid, which I think tastes like what Jif would taste like, the cleaning liquid.
Wow, so sad.
I
Okay.
thought you said gin.
Yeah, I was like, gee, wow, I thought that was
No,
another
like
word.
it's like chalky and like white and like it has a bit of a lemon flavor to it. Anyway, they take a photo of you whilst you're swallowing it to see how your gut. Anyway, if they see in the photos that you can't tolerate it, then they'll probably get you to do a bypass rather than a sleeve. So.
Oh wow, actually, I didn't know that. Just FYI, I thought it was
didn't know
fully.
that.
No, I thought it was to like just see what your stomach was doing and understand the piping and.
No, because if you've
That makes a lot of sense.
If you've got bad reflux to start off with, they're not going to give you the sleeve because it can just exacerbate your reflux. So they will more than likely go a
Bypass.
or there's another one called something to do with adhesions or something like that, which will also, they put an extra stitch in your sleeve. So it makes it tighter. So therefore the reflux can't escape as easily. Clearly I'm very scientific in the way that I'm describing this right now, but yeah, I'm guessing you probably didn't have the barium swallow done prior to because you might have chosen bypass over sleeve had you have known.
Yeah, 100%. I did speak to my surgeon maybe it would have been a year ago now, and I said, like, I've got incredibly bad reflux. What can I do about it? He went to go, I think he sent me like a referral for exactly that, probably the barium swallow, and I just never did. Yeah, and I just never did because he thought maybe I'd have like a hernia or something, maybe that was the cause, and then they'd look into a revision, but I just never got around to it. I don't know why. I don't know.
So you prefer to live with bad reflux than go and have revision?
No, I would have revision tomorrow if I still had them. The problem was I was like putting it off. I was like, I can't afford health insurance again right now. I only had extra, like I've only got extras at the moment for dental and everything, and because we don't really have a private hospital nearby. And I was like, I'd have to go public anyways, and all these excuses. And so then I'd have to do my 12 months wait again anyway. So if I'd done it then, I would have had revision, been eligible for revision now, because my surgeon doesn't take non-health insurance patients.
Oh, okay. So you have to be in a health fund with your surgeon. He won't take public people. Nah,
he won't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he only does it if you've got health insurance, and he was like $500 or something. Oh no, $1,500.
Oh, okay, very interesting.
Yeah, something else I read. You developed PCOS after surgery. How did you diagnose that?
So it started getting worse when I saw it. When I felt it getting worse was when I was training for. I was heavily training. Like, it can be developed through excessive exercise and training and things like that as well. So I was heavily training. Maybe it must have been a year or so ago now, and I ended up getting really anemic and sick and things like that. I was just went off the radar for a bit in myself as well, because I was just like, oh, I'm not feeling good. Like, I was feeling good and strong up until then, and then I went, my body's not handling this, like, at all. And then I started getting, like, really anemic and had a lot of pain. I was just getting a lot of, like, tight pelvic pain, and every time I would exercise, I would literally feel like I was in labour again.
Oh, God.
And that could last the entire day. I'd be, like, written off. And then I started getting really bad bloating and things like that as well. So they wanted to test for things like endometriosis and everything, but I hadn't gotten those tests yet because I'd have to get a laparoscopy or whatever, and I haven't. I think that's what it's called. I just haven't got around to that yet. But so when they did a scan, they did like a pelvic ultrasound and found a lot of
cysts.
What do you call them? Cysts. Yeah.
So how have you negotiated that? Because obviously you're still doing lifting now. You like recently just won like a weightlifting competition. So like, how have you navigated that whole thing?
That wasn't recent. That was kind of like in my prime. That was like one of my. I felt really proud of that moment because It was something that, you know, I conquered, and I hated sport. Like, I would have been sick during,
Gym.
you know, any sport at school. So, like, that was a huge achievement for me, but that was kind of before I started getting real anemic.
So you haven't done a lot since the PCOS in like stuff? Like, have you kind of cut back a little bit? Is that?
I cut back because my body was telling me, if you don't, you're just going to be in severe pain for however long. But then I got the job. I finished uni, or was finishing uni, and I got that job. So everything kind of like, I slowed down the routine, but I did it mainly for myself because my body just wasn't tackling it very well. So I'm like, I'll give myself a break, and I can't tackle everything at once, you know, take on life like you're eating an elephant, just take it one piece at a time, just slow down. So I did that, and then I've only recently started heavily going back to gym again and working out and really focusing on that because I've kind of got everything else organised. However, I'm having to take more iron again, like more extra supplements on top. I'm really having to supplement a lot more because I'm starting to feel my body hating me again. So, yeah, it's trying to find that balance, I guess. Like,
it's
I want to do it.
You're so aware of it, though. Like, because some people would push until it was too late and you kind of like, it's really hard to come back from it. But it seems like you're very aware of how you're feeling and how your body's responding to certain things. Yeah.
And I think it's like an intuition. I've always been pretty like in tune with like my body in itself. But yeah, I just know I don't want to push it. Like, I'm a very kind of proud person. I was like, no, I need to lose weight and I need to do this. But now that's where that maturity and like self-development has come in, and I've gone, no, you don't have to. Like, I mentally went through a really tough patch when I had to slow down my training. I was like, really went real depressive and stuff. But then I kind of had to come out of that and like develop myself mentally and go, it's okay. Like, you're not put here to be thin. You know, just, you'll be fine. Just pick up one thing at a time. You know what you're doing, get back to it. So that's kind of where I am at the moment. It's kind of like, no, you can take a break. You're not going to turn back into 135 kilos again tomorrow. Calm down.
It's going to take time.
Reset. Yeah. Get a good night's sleep and just go back to it tomorrow. So
how's your anemia going now? Are you having to do infusions, or are you just managing it through your diet, or like what are you doing with that?
Diet, definitely not. Like, I can't get enough iron in like through my diet, so that's fine. I can't take pills because the pill, that was the main issue. I was taking iron supplements in a tablet form, and it was not absorbing properly. So then I have to get infusions. But the liquid iron is amazing. Multifer.
Yep.
Yeah. I find out if I take like 15 ml of that a day, it kind of just keeps me on track, which is good.
And so do you just feel you've got like zero energy? Is that sort of what it feels like? I don't know. I don't think I have an anemia, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like complete exhaustion. Your whole mind, your body, everything's just like so tired, you're dragging. But also I think the hardest part is the body aches. You get so many body aches. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like you're cramping from your head to your toes. Like, your whole body just starts cramping and there's pain and you're tired and your body feels shit. Like, I can't even explain it. But, it's coming on. I know it's coming on because for me, after exercise, it takes me a lot longer to recover as well. So I know I need to get a handle on it. But yeah, it's really bad.
It's quite impressive though that you can, like what Shannon just said before, you're obviously so in tune with your body, but then you also you know, all right, I've just got to compensate, like, because you don't want to get off track, so to speak. So you are going, I know that I'm going to feel crappy after I do this workout, so I'll do the workout because I know that I want to do the workout and feel good from the workout. But then you just need to know how to, I guess, refuel afterwards to make sure that you don't go into this massive body cramping and tiredness afterwards. So,
of course. And, of course, hormones are a massive thing for women.
Yeah.
It interferes with a lot as well. So,
you seem like you're very aware of yourself now. And, like, I would say, looking at you, you seem very confident. Would you say you're confident now? Like, is that something you would use as a relating word for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like I was saying, when between the ages of, I think, maybe 13 to 25, 26, you think you know everything. The world can't touch you, but your arrogance is your worst enemy, because you actually don't know anything. You really don't. You haven't lived.
Experienced,
You haven't, no. And I think you can get yourself into a lot of trouble, but I guess you've got to go through that anyway. But I'm at that point where it's kind of like, I'm confident, I'm happy within myself. I don't care what people really think of me anymore. So, and that helps me move forward, I think, to be confident and happy. And I don't know, I enjoy who I am now and my path. So I think I'm happy to travel that path.
Do you feel like you found a good balance? Like, obviously with Liam and stuff like that and being a mum, it makes it quite hard. But, like, do you feel like you've found a good balance of putting you first enough?
Yes. I even noticed a massive change with my last job. Like, it was so toxic. I can't even explain to you how toxic that environment was. And I just remember thinking, how are people working here? Like, how are you doing this? Like, how are you allowing this? And that's where I thought to myself, I think I've really developed here. I've really come a long way, because beforehand, I remember working in a PR agency. I would have sold my soul to work in the PR agency. I would have taken so much shit. I was young, and it was kind of like, oh, this is my foot in the door. I can't screw it up, and I'll just take anything, and that's kind of throughout relationships and work and everything. Now I don't just settle. Like, I'm not just going to settle. And when I saw that toxicity, it was affecting me so much, and I was like, I'm so anxious here, but I'm not going to stand for it. I was kind of like, no, like, if coming out of uni before and getting a role, say, in a law firm when I was younger, I would have been like, I just have to stay here. I just have to deal with it, and then it just kind of would have eaten away at my self-confidence, my self-worth. And when I felt them me going, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I'm the problem, I just went, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
That just shows how much you've grown as a person too, though. Like, that's just, Yeah,
I can relate to that, because, like, with that job I just had before, which I've just recently left, I felt the same thing. It was like it was taking more away from my life than it was giving. And I would have once upon a time been like, oh, just suck it up. Like, just, it is what it is, blah, blah. But, like, I kind of now have found that balance where I'm like, I know where my happiness lies. And happiness to me is the most important thing in life. Like, if you're not happy, what's the point? And that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, you don't get these moments back. Like, you don't get this time back. So if you're spending it being miserable, you got to ask yourself why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because happiness is the most important thing.
Can't buy happiness.
Well, you can. It's like, it's just very expensive. No, comes in the form of a red Ferrari. No.
So we were talking about before the weightlifting competition that you won not too long ago, whenever it was. Was weightlifting something that you've always wanted to do prior to surgery, or was this something that you sort of just picked up along the way?
I don't want to stereotype, but I look at you and I go, no, like, you don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you are actually a very strong woman who is very, very efficient at it.
Did you like that pun that I accidentally put in there as well? It's something that you just picked up along the way, being a weightlifter.
Jeez, zinger.
No, the funniest thing is, and you guys know this about me, I fucking hate running. I hate running.
That's a given. Yeah.
You do it though.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't like
No,
it.
I'll do it. I'll complain every step of the way. It's not something that feeds my soul. It's like you guys, well, Shannon.
Yeah.
And that brings you accomplishment and it drives you and those sort of things you love. I like a HIIT workout, but I don't like sustained running. I don't know what it is. I just get really bored. I'm just like, I can't do this. I want to stop now. Can we walk? Can we sit down? Let's have a picnic.
Do you want to stop at the cafe and have a coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah, can we do that? Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that side of things. So weight I found incredibly satisfying. So I could still lose weight. I can enjoy what I was doing. And it is all about doing what you enjoy. If you don't enjoy a certain thing, just don't do it. Why would you kill yourself doing it?
It's true.
If you don't like it. And I liked it. I really liked weightlifting and stuff. And yeah, so the feeling I get from that is I feel strong. I feel achieved. I don't, it takes a lot of stress on your body when you're weightlifting. I guess it's so much stress on your, I think it's adrenal system. But the feeling I get after it is not that, high you get from running, from that cardio. It's the high you get from the strong feeling. I don't know what I can't explain it.
I watch that because I have a mad appreciation for I watch a fair few of the weight loss community doing the weight stuff, and I'm I have a mad appreciation for it. But I feel like you get the survival thing of yes, it didn't crush me this time. My spine didn't break. It's I look at weightlifting and stuff and the heavy weights as people would probably look at me running in general. Yeah. And I look at it and I'm I just feel my knees would just explode. I'll be constantly thinking at any second now, my body's going to self-destruct.
At any second now, this car is going to crush me.
Yeah, literally. I'm yes, I didn't die this time.
I feel like that when I run because I get incredibly bad asthma. I'm going to die today. I'm going to die because I can't breathe. Here we go.
Yeah, but I must admit,
for
somebody who hates it so much, I'm mad appreciation for you for when we were at Byron not too long ago. You slept through your alarm. You still made it to parkrun.
The world's latest parkrun.
15 minutes late, and you still decided to come and run. And you finished it.
Yeah, you played catch up.
And Shannon said I wouldn't turn up, and you know what? I was turning up. I was like, no, you watch. I'll be there. Better late than never.
And then she wakes up and her alarm's already gone off. She slept through and she's like, damn it, he was right. He will not be right. I run parkrun an hour late. I'll be there.
It's not technically called parkrun once they've all packed up and gone though, right?
She's still running in a park.
I still made it to coffee, okay?
That's all that matters.
That is. So what would be your, if you had to sit here and tell us your proudest moment? I reckon we could include throughout surgery and prior to surgery. Do you have a proudest moment for you?
Oh, it's so hard. I think to be fair, I am probably the most proud I've ever been in the security, my own self-security right now. The proudest moment was probably, buying this place on my own with, single mom with Liam. I've gone through a fair bit. So it's kind of this is proud. I'm I feel like I've hit a point in my life where I'm incredibly happy for it. I don't think I've been this happy. Yeah.
You're not relying on other people for that as well. You are supplying your own happiness through your own independence.
Yeah. And I think, just little things, I feel so capable. For instance, sometimes I feel really burnt out, but I'm no, I'm capable. I can do things. For instance, I've had trades and things come through this place, and instead, I'm not settling with them because they're giving me all these prices and whatnot. I'm no, I'm not paying that because I'm capable enough to do it myself. For instance, I'm just doing all the sanding and painting in this house myself because it's just cheaper, and I can't justify $1,200 a room to paint a room. Like,
and you can do it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And even just when I was doing the skirtings the other day, I was just like doing like a prep coat on them, and just the way I was doing it, you know, I guess how I was able to move would have been so different when I was 135 kilos. Like just getting up and down the floor. Like I was proud because I've got really good mobility and I've worked on my body enough to be so able to do these sort of things. So I'm like, no, I'm a strong, independent woman. I can do this. I got this. I don't need anyone to help me. So that I'm really proud that I'm able to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like you're in a really good spot right now. Like I feel like even just the way you're talking, and it's like there's no thought into an answer. You're just talking. Like you're just talking genuinely about how you are, straight from the head. So it's like it's a genuine feeling that you're having right now.
Yeah.
What would you say is next for Nicole then? Like where are you going from here?
I don't know. Like I guess good places by the sounds of it. I don't know.
That's it. I sand the the roof next. Yeah, I'm going up. Only up.
I think is there anywhere further for me to go? No, there is. I'm sure there is. No, I think right now I really want to find some really good social relationships. So I've kind of held off on like the social aspect of things. What I really want to do now is start having that freedom to kind of go out and fill my cup more often. So my social cup. Like, okay, I have to admit, I kind of loved the whole COVID thing back when it was out because I had I'm like an introverted extrovert. So I felt no pressure to socialize, like to maintain friendships and things, because it's like you didn't have to. I didn't even have to. So I was like, this is okay. I don't do it anyway, and now I don't have to feel bad about not doing it. So, but now I think that's something I want to work on myself. I want to be a little bit more sociable, and now I've got that ability to do that.
So you want to put yourself out there. Put yourself out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And are you putting yourself out there romantically?
Well, I went on a date the other night, but that was even a funny thing because I don't know, I wasn't, at first we got along really well and it was a lot like that whole job thing and settling, but okay, I'm not being shallow. That's not what it's about. And this is where we go back to talking about knowing what you want and not settling. And not because you've lost weight are you looking at things differently and leaving relationships and leaving people because you think you're better because you've lost weight. It's not even about that. This one, I walked in and when I saw him, he was very different to how I pictured him in my head. And he must have had some old photos. I don't know. Like I knew him, out through work, but also not personally. Anyway, and he was a bit bigger than I imagined. And I'm not skinny, and that's the issue here. I was talking to him throughout and saying, he was talking about his weight and how he put on weight, and I wasn't judging him for that because who am I to judge someone for their weight, right? But romantically, I can't do it. I can't go to someone that doesn't look after themselves physically right now because I don't need an enabler. I already have a bad relationship with food that I don't need someone in my life that's going to feed me or bring back bad habits because old habits die hard. I don't want that in my life. I want someone that's going to push me and someone that's going to, make me think about my choices a little bit more, not someone that's going to bring home, all the groceries. I've been there and done that. Like, I don't need people feeding me because that's almost like someone pumping drugs into my veins.
So did you pick up from sitting down in a date with him, he's not at a point where he wants to, make those changes? You couldn't have been that person for him? Not really?
I don't think that's my job. First of all, you can't make anyone do anything that they don't want to do. And my biggest thing is I'm not responsible for anybody else's happiness, because I don't think anyone should be responsible for someone's happiness, because if someone doesn't take responsibility for their own happiness, you'll never make them feel a certain way.
Yeah, but you live a certain way, and I think by like being around you, the right person could make those changes because of who you are. If that makes sense, like
but I also, I don't want to dictate. I don't want to tell people that they should be a certain way. I don't want to say, "Do you think you should be eating that?" I don't want to be on someone's case and be like, "Well, maybe we should go for a run." Like, I'm not taking on an overweight puppy that I need to take on walks. Like,
true.
That's not where I want to be.
And it's because, like, it's where we came from too. Like, I know that my mum used to always say to me kind of like, "Oh, you know, let's go for a walk this afternoon," or like, "Are you sure you really want to eat that entire bag of snakes?" Like, and you're like, kind of like, "Well, yes, I do. That's why I'm eating it." Like, you don't know, like, and we grew up.
Your mum.
Yeah, 100%. And we like, I grew up with that my whole life. Like, the last thing and I know how it made me feel. So the last thing is that you would want to do is like, without realizing that you're doing it as well, you just don't want to put that other person in that situation as well, though.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not their nutritionist. I'm not their doctor. I'm not their parent. I want to be on equal ground with someone. So, I don't want to be lecturing someone or, you know, not pretending, but like by me telling someone, "Do you think you should be doing that?" Or "Do you think I feel like I'm taking on a role where I think I'm better than them, that I should be lecturing them."
Well, I think that's exactly, like, you're at a place now where I think you know who you are. So I think you're looking for someone else who is in the same place, like where they know who they are. So it's not so much like you're helping them or fixing them and they're not fixing you or helping you. It's just like you mesh and you just like gel together and it just works. Yeah.
I want someone who's independent and not codependent. I can't deal with another codependent relationship. Like, it's just...
You've already got a child.
Yeah, you're like, "Oh, I've already got Liam."
I have a kid. He's incredibly codependent. Like, in the last however many years wiping his bum. Someone doesn't have anyone else.
If you get a boyfriend, you have to wipe his bum. Something else is going on there.
But it was just little things like we went to eat and it was, you could tell he didn't want to change, because even on the date, sometimes you're a little bit more reserved. And he just ate so much. And I was just like, I can't, like, I'm not going to say, "Do you think you should be, maybe we should just like, why did you get 5 dishes?" Like, that's a lot. And I don't want to be that person. I also don't want to fall into that trap and go, and then put on all that weight again.
Yeah.
Because
you don't want to find common ground in that, and then all of a sudden you're the one that's like, you know, falling back into those easily found habits that you've worked so hard to get out of. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It comes back to what you said before, though, is knowing what you want, and those characteristics are what you don't want. Like, it's triggering, it'll put you back into where you don't want to be, like you're looking after yourself first. And I think a lot of people need to actually do that. You're not going to settle, you're putting yourself first. And I think it's a good lesson to sort of take away.
That's it. And if you meet someone and they've got like a character trait or something, and you've already got your walls up, right? And if you meet someone and say, "I don't like that in someone," that's okay. Like, someone might be too arrogant for you, or they might, you know, be too much into something and that doesn't align with you. And that's just me. I've got my walls up when it comes to triggering things like food and things like that. So when it comes to, you know, someone who's just more into eating or just sit down and relax all the time, not to say I don't like to relax. I do like to relax. I don't want it to take over my life. And if I feel someone's already in that space, then we don't align, and that's fine. And I'm not going to break down my walls and go, "Oh, okay, well, I'll take on your life to jeopardize mine." I'm just not going to do that.
Very mature way to look at it, I believe.
So talking about relaxing then, for anybody who's listening, you're a single mother, you work full time, you're trying to train for your weightlifting and everything. How do you find time to relax, to juggle? Like, what's your tip there for anybody? Because a lot of people say they just want to listen to like relatable people who are in a similar situation to them. And I feel like you're one of those people who you're just an everyday person who has a life, who has like a life outside of just the weight loss. So how do you manage it all?
Oh, wow. It's just, I think it's just the decisions I make. Like, for me, I get up 3 days a week at 4 a.m. I make those sacrifices because I want to come home to my family. You know, like, I don't want to go, I'll go to the gym after work, and then that will stress me out because then I'll have mum guilt that I haven't been with Liam for X amount of time. So then, like, you kind of accumulating all these feelings, and I'd rather, if I can just sacrifice a couple hours, like usually I wake up at 6 anyway, what's another 2 hours? Just go to bed a little bit earlier. Liam goes to bed at 7:30. I don't have to stay up that late, and I can still get a TV show in or something, you know, if I want to do that. I'm not doing uni now, so I used to have a lot more on my plate, and I think I've alleviated that pressure a bit. So I think I'm just in myself, and it just depends on the person, but I'm a very high-functioning person. So the more I do, I like to have a little bit of fire in my belly, and I'll take on a lot of jobs. I'll probably burn out occasionally, but I don't know, you just do it. I think I run off adrenaline most of the time, but I'm okay with that.
It sounds like you set priorities too. So, like, you know, Liam comes first or second to you. And, you know, you got certain things that you prioritize. And I think because sometimes we do waste a lot of time on things that we don't need to waste time on. And that sounds like similar to what Nicole's saying, is like, you know, she puts the things that she knows she needs in her life first. And then she has time for the other stuff, and that happens.
Yeah.
But I think that sometimes we do waste a lot of time on things we just don't need to waste time on.
But I think it also, like, something that you need to point out is that you need to be, we say it all the time, you need to be willing to make the sacrifices and willing to change in the long run for this to be successful. Like, you could choose to sleep in to 6 o'clock every morning and, you know, not go to the gym or not see your family at home. But as Shannon just said, like, you prioritize what's important to you and you put it first. Like, you prioritize things. And I think that,
Yeah, because she knows getting up at 4 o'clock some mornings, going to the gym is going to give her a little bit more of what she wants, which is happiness, and make her feel better within herself. And I think sometimes, like, yes, the pillows sometimes is just so comfy,
and warm,
but like,
so
you know
warm.
what's more comfy? Happiness. Happiness is comfy, you know, feeling good within yourself. Yeah. You know, as hard as it can be some days to just ply yourself out of that bed and go to the gym or go for that run, you will thank yourself for it later because you know, you will feel better within yourself.
And what's that saying? You don't get results in comfort zones. Well, 4 o'clock in the morning is going to be outside of your comfort zone for a very long time. But the more you do it, the more that comfort zone becomes 4 o'clock. So then you're going to have to look for something else to push yourself. Like, it all just comes to, you know, changing your goals and mixing it up.
I think time management is, like, crucial in all this, because if you go, I don't have time, you have the time. Trust me, you've got the time. Because you could be sitting there for half an hour scrolling through your feed. You obviously have the time to do that. You have the time to attend your, what I call my psych appointment, which is the gym. So I do that for my mind, and I make the time for it because I make time for me. So coming through this journey, it's all like you become very self-indulged in so many ways. But for me, I've just managed to learn how to manage my time, Like, I've just learned to manage my time better. So even if it's work in the evening, I just have all of my clothes laid out. It's done. Half the time on a Sunday, I've got my entire week's routine's worth of gym sets in the car.
Wow.
Or I've got them all, like, bundled up, ready to go. Okay, that's that outfit, that's that outfit, that's that outfit. It's just, like, ready to go. So you can't make the excuse and be like, oh, everything's in the wash, or this has happened and that happened. It's like, no, just get your ass out of bed. Just do it.
Just do it.
And if you want to sleep, just go to bed earlier. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Earlier than like 7:30? That's when I go to bed. So if you could sit and give one piece of advice, like we just gave a lot of advice to people obviously taking this process to kind of understand what's next for them. But like what would be your one tip that you probably would have wanted to hear pre-surgery that you would make a difference to who you are now?
Something that I didn't do or something that I did do?
Well, something that you've done that you now go, oh, I wish I knew that earlier.
Okay. Well, something that I did, and I wish that everyone had to do it. There's two things. First one is get the full body composition scan from day dot. Even if it's not you looking at the sheet, even if you just stand on it, they read it and they say, we'll come back to you in 6 months and you can see the progress you've made. You don't have to look at it and be all depressed that, you know, when you're 135 kilos and you're like off the Richter scale with visceral fat. Don't even look at that. Don't even put yourself on the back foot. Look at it in 6 months and go, wow, I have just come so far. Everyone should get that from day one. And I just
love that.
Yeah, I wish I did. I got mine at 100 kilos, so I was already 35 kilos lighter. But that was the main one. And the second one, I think it was the best decision I made, was even though I wouldn't even say I wasted money. I didn't really waste money or time doing it because it was good for self-development, which was I started in sports science because I thought I was going to do bariatric nutrition because that's what I wanted to do. But then my uni didn't do nutrition or dietetics. So I kind of went the law path. But anyway, I did anatomy. I did anatomy, physiology, and nutrition. The best things I could have done, because I listen to some people now talking to me, and it's not people in the community, or it's just like, you know, it could be my dad, you know, like he's trying to lose weight and he's just not understanding certain things. But because I did that, it gave me such a good insight as to the body versus the food. So not only is like the anatomy for weightlifting, which is incredible, so you can feel, I guess that's where I feel so in touch with my body, is because I can feel the muscles. I know what muscles I'm working. I know how the attachments to the bone and just different things and what like I'm feeling, what I'm looking for. But then the physiology behind it, why things happen, the way your proteins work and things like that. But then also how it relates to the food side of stuff. So how your physiology and your nutrition just go hand in hand. And I think that is the most incredible thing I ever did.
Yeah, I think because education, like that falls into the education side of things. Like the more you know, the more you understand things and the easier things become. Because like the amount of things like I've learned over this whole process that like I kind of go, it just becomes second nature. And then you kind of just, you don't so much have to be like, oh, I'm so lost within this realm of like what I'm meant to do. Because it's just like the more you learn, even little things over time just become just second nature. And you just kind of just go, oh, if I have that, that's good for this. You know, same as what you were saying, if I lift this weight in this certain way, it's good for this. You know, so it's all like education is so key in this process because it's education away from probably what you educated yourself on prior to surgery. Like understanding that, like, you know, the more you understand you, the more you understand and make you better. Yeah. Very important.
Yeah, definitely. Understand like your body, understand your mind. You kind of starting to get it all sorted out, because if you can connect the two, you're starting to understand yourself a lot more. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Two very good tips. Very, very good tips. I couldn't agree more. Well, Nicole, you are a gem.
We love you.
There's a reason you're someone I consider very much a friend, because you're very switched on, great head, and just all around great chick. So thank you for coming on. We appreciate you sitting down. If you want to reach out to Nicole, you can find her at Instagram at, what is her new handle? Nicole.through.thick.2.thin. Is that right?
Nicole through thick and thin.
Yeah, cool. Reach out. She's someone that will
put it on the TV and in the notes and everything.
In the notes. So. If you want to reach out, Nicole is someone who is happy to have the conversation and happy to help you through this process. So make sure you do. And if you enjoyed our episode, Also reach out and just say, Nicole, you're sick as, mate.
Have a coffee. Go for a run because she loves him so much.
Love it. Don't ever ask me to come run. Like, if you're going to inbox me, that's not something I want you to ask.
Yeah, maybe say, you want to go lift some weights in the park, bro? Let's go.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
Yeah, indeed. Well, anyway, guys, that is another episode of Bari Banter. Well, yes, that is another episode of Bari Banter in the books. We hope you got a little something from that one.
Head on over to Facebook or Instagram and check us out, or go to baribanter.com where you can watch past episodes, give us feedback, and let us know who you want to hear from next.
We love you all, and as always, please stay beautiful.